Hello, my diamonds and my darlings. It's ALB in Whisperland here, and I'm so excited for today's video. We are going to be looking at the Steven Universe Art and Origins book. It's a beautiful art book. It just came out, and I very quickly purchased this book as a little treat to myself for my art book collection. Steven Universe is a series that's extremely close to my heart. It's really important to me. I love it a lot. And so this was something I really wanted for my collection. We're going to look through the whole book today, and I want to encourage you that if you like the book, please consider purchasing it for yourself or someone else. It's really important, as always, that we support the artists who made the book, the artists who make the show, because if we don't support the people who are making this great stuff, we won't have the great stuff anymore. That's how it works. So yeah, let's get right into this book. So it doesn't have a dust sleeve. There is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive version of this book that comes with a dust sleeve. That's pretty much the only difference that I've seen of the two books. And I wasn't too fussy. I didn't necessarily need the dust sleeve, so I didn't feel that I needed to get the San Diego Comic-Con version. I was honestly just very anxious and excitable to just get my hands on a copy. So, yeah, there's no dust sleeve, but the book has a really beautiful sort of metallic finish that when I move it in the light, you can kind of see it here. You can kind of take a look. It's quite beautiful. And the lettering on the title here is in a gloss, and the rest of the book is matte. You can see that shine right there. It's very lovely. The spine of the book just has the title here and Steven's gem. And then the back still has that really pretty metallic. It's a really lovely hardcore book. It's quite thick. It is packed full to the brim with concept art and thoughts and feelings behind the show. So for me, I feel really happy with having this and being able to look at these whenever I like. So this is the inside cover. It has a really nice papery texture, and I love all of these post-it note drawings of characters from the show. Some of them being concept art, and some of them just being doodles that the crew that worked on the show did in the interim of working on the show there. Then we have this really lovely little kind of pen and marker sketch of Rose Quartz with Steven and her belly there. This is the kind of title page, I guess, of the book. It's really lovely. I love stuff like this that's just, you can tell it was a sketchbook. And there's post-it note type drawings with sellotape on them, and I love the messiness of it. There's a real magic to these types of drawings when you can tell the ideas are really just forming and coming to fruition in front of us right on the page there. This is really beautiful concept art of Beach City, drawn by Steven Sugar, painted by L. Michalka. So here we have the table of contents. And you're going to notice throughout this whole book, there's lots of little doodles. There's lots of, storyboard background work. It's really a beautiful book. So these are some of the earliest development drawings of Steven Universe, drawn by Rebecca Sugar for the pilot pitch. And you can see he's quite a bit older in this original version. So this is the foreword by Rebecca Sugar. And I'm going to read this to you because I think it's important and it sets the tone for the book. A dedication to the Crooniverse by Rebecca Sugar. The crew makes the show. The crew makes the show. And then this part's in bold. The crew makes the show. Not everyone who has been, is, and will be on the crew weighed in for this book, but everyone weighs in on the show. I wish I could talk to you right now, one-on-one, and hear what little things stuck out to you, which pun you found hidden on a background, which specific character moment struck you because you'd never seen it in a cartoon before, which line became something you quote with friends, or which song got stuck in your head, so I could tell you exactly who drew it, who pitched it, who wrote it, or who sang it, and why it could have only come from them and from no one else. I hoped this show would be able to celebrate all the specific details of all of our childhoods, all the little mannerisms we know in our friends and families and selves that we hadn't seen reflected on TV before, and all the different media we'd grown up loving for different reasons. We took all that and lumped it together into a massive pastiche, which we chipped away at with our arguments and sculpted with our care into the show that Steven Universe became. What you'll see in this show are small fractions of the process and excerpts from the flurry of activity that went on at the start of the show. It's been hard to look back because my heart aches when I think about the early days, working with my brother Steven and my true love Ian, and with friends and heroes and strangers who would enter my life and change it forever with their beautiful ideas. My favorite memories are the silliest inside jokes we'd never actually do, weird gimmicks that stuck because we'd loved them so much, like ending episodes with a star iris or calling ourselves the Crooniverse, that ended up becoming an inexorable part of the show's DNA. I'll warn you, we run a tight ship when it comes to what you see on TV, and if you don't want to see the seams, don't look further, because this is Seam City. You're about to see some early stuff that is totally raw and irrelevant to what the show became. For example, I don't at all consider the gems girls or goddesses, which is what, just as a side, that's what some of the notes on characters say in certain parts in this book. But seeing as the show is a celebration of imperfection, where we reveal slowly the inner workings of the characters in their world, I feel like it's only right to do that with the show itself. After all, you can't have a steak without mistakes. Wait, which version of that line did we end up going with? Oh, forgive me, it was the one about pork chops. So that's a really nice little forward here. And then there's a little bit of background about Rebecca Sugar and some drawings of the proto-crystal gems in Rebecca's pilot pitch sketchbook. I'm not going to read pages to you because there's a lot to read, and I think that that's at times a little redundant, but I wanted to read that to you because, you know, that's in Rebecca's own words, and I think it's important to set the tone. This introduction here is by Gendy Tartakovsky. Now, Gendy's work you might be pretty familiar with. Gendy worked on Samurai Jack and I think Scooby-Doo and a bunch of other stuff. Dexter's Laboratory, Star Wars, The Clone Wars, a lot of things. And basically, Gendy was a big part of helping Rebecca clarify her ideas of what she wanted to do with the show, and about really streamlining character development, what the points were. These are Rebecca's notes from her consultation with Gendy, emphasizing the need for simplicity and clarity in a pilot episode so that they could sell the series. So that's really neat. So this first chapter of the book is called Origins, and we have some different expressive Steven drawings here, which is really cute. This is a little bit gets into Stephen and Rebecca Sugar's childhood and talks about how they grew up with a real love for animation instilled by their dad, and how they were both working and inspiring each other. And it's really interesting to me reading about them, how both Stephen and Rebecca are artists as well as siblings, and that they both were able to not only pursue the arts but collaborate as well, which isn't always common with siblings, even siblings who are interested in the same thing. So I think that's a really special kind of symbiotic relationship. So we have some developing pilot pitch sketches here. These are all about the relationships with the gems. It says these images and notes relating to young Stephen's attitude toward his 3 older and impressive guardians, and trying to capture the awe and respect that he holds for them. So not everybody is a fan of the early concept designs for the gems. Personally, I really like the designs that they did go and choose, but I love seeing early concept stuff because, it's just interesting to see variations of characters and where the ideas for them came. So this is really cool. This is a page. It's pretty much all Rebecca's pilot sketchbook that she pitched the show with. So she was, sketching out multiple episode ideas up here. This is, let's see, a laptop episode, Sadie possessed, Pizza Man episode, baby episode. Lots of thoughts on ideas. Over here we have some notes about what the early concept of the gems is, which is, Garnet is the leader. She's the strongest and quietest. When she does speak, she gets the final say. Amethyst is the most impulsive, most compassionate, easily distracted. She fights the most recklessly. Pearl is organized, most vocal, bosses Stephen around, and feels personally responsible for any team failures. Really interesting personalities. This is Stephen. Stephen is the opposite of a man-child. It says child-man. Trying his best to handle everything, life like an adult. Wants to be tough and helpful. These are more pilot pitch sketches. This is probably one of my favorite versions of Rose Quartz because I love the way her arms flow here. I think it's really pretty. I love the way it's just very elegant. There are so many good roses here. I also love this garnet here. So these were, initial drafts. A lot of notes you'll notice here. And I love the rawness of this book. That we get, things scribbled out, ideas that aren't fully fleshed out yet. Because I don't need everything to be polished all the time. I love the thoughts, thinking and figuring out an idea or expression. So that's really cool. These are some of the pilot promotional art. This is clips from the pilot itself. As you can see, the characters, their designs were still rooted in that same thought, that same process, but tweaked and made better, made easier to draw continuously, and made stronger silhouettes, I think, is one of the biggest keys. It's just some of the background art from the pilot. I remember this shot so clearly. The pilot came out, I think in 2013, November, and I remember this shot so clearly because there's like a pan up, or maybe to the side, and then we see Amethyst on this pile of, big cats, and her gem just shines. I remember being just so fascinated. Like, what is this show? I thought, when I first saw the pilot. But even though I was just so captured, immediately I was obsessed. The show pilot, it doesn't take the time to say, this is this character, this is this character. It just throws you in to this sort of slice of life situation that's playing out. And personally, that's probably one of my favorite uses of storytelling. I don't want to necessarily be walked through in an introductory way. I want to feel like I'm already part of the action, and through that action I want to learn about how the characters interact with each other, and through that reveals more of their personality. So these are some of the pilot garnets. I love a lot of these costumes, but I really like, I love the pilot costume too, but I really like the big hair they ended up going with. I think it suits the character more, but these are all super pretty. This is Pilot Amethyst. I love like all her ripped tights and her sweatpants and stuff. Her style is so cool. And then Pilot Pearl is really neat too. This is like a bit of a more masculine style, and her little shorts and stuff is really cute. I liked this one note. Where is it here? Yeah, it says maybe an open shirt or jacket with shorts underneath it, very Utena. So, I mean, we see a lot of that inspiration for Pearl's character. Physicality echoed throughout the entire show, especially with her swordplay. But it's interesting to see it actually written, even though I can visually understand and see where the references come from. It's fun as a fan to see those kinds of inspirations confirmed. It's like, I thought you were referencing that. It makes me feel good that I'm not just imagining it. I love this garnet right here. This is really beautiful. This is Stylized Garnet by Jasmine Light. This is just, figuring out what the costumes were. It's really neat. Angie Wang did sets of unique outfits for the crystal gems as possibilities of final costume designs. And this is promotional art. So this is like the final promotional art that they went through, but you can see there's so many steps to getting to that point, and I love seeing all the thumbnails, and from a thumbnail you'd flesh something out a little bit more detailed, and getting up to this point, ultimately rendering it. Really neat. So this is the second part of the book, called Greenlit and Development. And this is all about getting this show to actually be a show after the pilot was made. Because they didn't know if the show was going to get picked up. So Ian and Rebecca talk in this part about the production side of things a lot. These are some shield boards and more concept background art. Really beautiful. The colors are just gorgeous. It's really lovely. And these are some Fry family concept arts too. I love the hands here, like the curves on all the fingers are really beautiful. Beach City business concepts. These are really neat. These are Stephen Sugar's development drawings of proposed Beach City locations. And on this page, they're also Stephen Sugar's like world building. He even mapped out all of the layout of the car wash, which is really amazing. And not something that you always see in this type of show, even an all ages show like this. There's some early beach city character concepts. In some of these you can really see, like Mr. Smiley here, Jamie, you can really see the characters as they are now, but some of them, like Onion here, they're not quite what they're ultimately going to be just yet. They're still in the working process of it. So this is, more beach city background character. And these are really cool. These are creature concepts. And these are quite creepy, but I really like them. I like stuff like this that, there's a creepy element, but a cute element too. There's some sketches of like half mutant gems and things like that, and the centipedals. I love this one. It's so weird. It's like a cryptid. More creature concepts up here. And these are by all different artists. Denny Hines, Guy Davis. Really beautiful. So this is a picture here of Rebecca, Ian, and Stephen on the first day of work on their new Greenlit series, which is really exciting. And this is one of the centerpiece images presented in the executive art meeting. These are some early sketchbook drawings that Rebecca did of the temple. This is the art presentation. So Rebecca and the crew shared these refined images of Stephen's world. So you have like the background work combined with real action happening in the shots. So now we're moving on to some other characters. And there's lots of really fun art in these sections. Here we have Greg Universe, Mr. Universe. And then this page is Connie. I really love this little Connie right here. I love how the artist drew her little feet. They're really cute. This is a really cute shot of Stephen and Connie. There's a lot of really nice ones here. It's a beautiful page. And then we have this page with Sadie and Lars. I love her expressive face here. And in these ones, really cute. Really nice art here. What I love about this book is that the art in this book, compared to a lot of my other books, I have a couple of the Disney ones now. The art feels extremely unfinished, and I mean that as a compliment. In a lot of the Disney art books, any of the concept art that they have feels relatively polished. Even though some of it is very sketchy, most of it is polished, whereas these just feel like the doodle someone did in a margin of a notebook, and I love that because that's how this stuff is made. It's not always polished, you can't really always control where you come up with these great ideas and great concepts, and everything feels very cut and paste pieces together. I really like that a lot. It's really neat for an art book. This is all garnet, and it's awesome. These top ones are by Rebecca, and these bottom ones are by Ian Jones-Corley. I love her beautiful face here. She looks so cute. And then their third eye there. Really nice. She has such a strong silhouette of, quiet observing, but very powerful. And then amethyst here. And I love how expressive these drawings are. Look at how expressive these little amethysts are. Her, I don't care attitude, but she has very big reactions to things. I like this little doodle at the bottom too. Just kind of really highlighting the difference in physical facial profiles between the gems, the crystal gems there. More post-it note doodles with marker. Really cute. Then we come to Pearl. I love all the gems, but Pearl definitely has a very fond place in my heart because she reminds me of some very important people in my life. I know a lot of very type A personalities like her, and even though at times she's incredibly flawed, I think that's one of the things I love about watching her, and about watching all the characters in this show. None of them are perfect, and they all have a lot of character growth. And I think that's really important in a show, is like, maybe when we first meet them, they're very flawed, and I mean, maybe that even comes off as unlikable to us, but if they don't start off that way, what room do they have to move forward and grow as characters, you know? I like this page because it's literally just notes of character design that Stephen has beautiful fat curves on his arms and legs, and that they really need to be consistently highlighted in all the art and in all the animation. This is a cute one too. It says, as a crystal gem, Stephen has access to a variety of very feminine magical objects. I wish that I had access to a variety of very feminine magical objects. So now we've reached the third part of the book, called character design. It's more really awesome stuff. Just about them in their conference room, chatting about how they make characters. This is really neat too. I'll read you this little excerpt. The first Steven Universe scene is very special to the crew because it was published before the show debuted. Capturing an exciting and uncertain time, this unofficial self-published labor of love includes these drawings and more. It was compiled and printed by Ian Jones Courtly. So opposite clockwise from top left, Colin Howard, Raven Melise, Tiffany Ford, Ian Jones Courtly, Rebecca Sugar. And on this page we have Katie Mitroff, Matt Burnett, Stephen Sugar, and Ben Levin. Lots of really great art on these pages. I love this one. It's kind of, big shoujo anime tears. There's so many different styles, and I think that that's what makes a zine so fun. It's really neat that they included that in the art book, if you ask me. It's not something that we'd always see. There's some designs for Lion here about creating Lion's iconic silhouette. And this is about style evolution, and I think this is a really important part of the book. It talks about how the characters have specific set designs, right? But that for the sake of animation in certain shots, because this show is a storyboard driven show, that at times things can be altered to better accurately portray emotion and what the scene calls for and needs. So, showing the model sheets there. And these are some designs from the Zoomans, from the Human Zoo, that, the diamond. I'm not going to get too much into spoilers, but this book does a little bit on its own. More distance models here. So what is a distance model? If you've never heard of it, it is basically how you can shrink a character to its most definitive and important points, its silhouettes. So how to take a complicated design and turn it into a somewhat simpler one when a character is very small or walking in the background. It's really important to be able to know how to do that for these characters. And I like a study like this because it shows how a character's skin tone can change in the lighting for color styles, sunset and night. are very, very fun to look at. These are the special pose models, so it's like what we were talking about earlier. This is a storyboard-driven show, and the special pose models illustrate unique designs for the animation studios to reference. This is, you probably remember if you watched the show, from the episode Cat Fingers, which was a really very weird episode, and I love it for that reason because it was cute but really weird. Just right up my alley. These are some props and effects. They're really simple looking but really effective. I'm a big fan of this off-brand capital N, capital S, not Sonic. It's really great. And the pancakes for together breakfast. More character drawing guides, talking about Garnet's hair. It's a 3D shape. How Steven's expressions can be changed for the sake of a shot. Here we have some drawings by Colin Howard, some drawings by Rebecca, all about homeworld gems. There's a lot of very high concept shapes and silhouettes here. They're very fashion based. These are by Angie Wang. They're really cool to look at in my opinion because I feel like we see echoes of these early designs in the diamonds and other characters that come later in the show. Here we are at Lapis Lazuli. What a great character. She goes through so much in her journey, and it's really interesting and fun to watch her development. And of course, Peridot too. I loved looking at this page because I guess on some level I kind of forgot that, Peridot, she has her arm and leg enhancements, and she was once very tall because of it. And really, she's just a little gremlin, a little pipsqueak. And I love Peridot. She's really fun because she's a really great example that this show doesn't really have villains in the way that shows typically have villains. What I mean is, a lot of shows are really intent on showing you an extreme binary. And as humans, we love binaries, we love opposites. These characters are good, these characters are evil, that kind of thing. But Steven Universe kind of doesn't allow us, maybe outside of Kevin, it doesn't really allow us to have characters that aren't multifaceted, that aren't at some point made not relatable, or even a character you can empathize with, but they're multifaceted. You understand their motivation even if you don't like them. And that's a really interesting thing to see a show do. That show, it's not as simple as good and evil. The world doesn't really work like that. Nobody really falls into one or the other, even though as humans we would love to be able to categorize people and places and things like that. It just doesn't work like that. And I think this show does a really good job of that, and showing that characters you can like can do things you don't agree with. Characters that you don't like might even change your mind, or become a force for good if given the chance. I love this page of Bismuth. She's such a cool character. She's a really great voice actor too. I love this Arabian Sapphire. We're in part 4 now, which is writing and storyboarding. So this is a lot about the writers, Ben Levin, Matt Berner, the supervising director, Kat Morris, and just talking about the process of writing for a show like this. And here we have this really cute little wall of sticky notes with the parrot and lapis. It's really fun. some writing games that the crew would play, which is when they would all contribute to a story by adding little parts. So one writer would add one part and then pass the story to the next person. The next person would add another part. Not all of the episodes that they made using this game really turned out into anything, but from a lot of them, pieces were taken and put into making other episodes. So you can see how an exercise like this can really stimulate the creative juices and really get ideas to flow and come. And they don't have to be perfect, right? No, if every pork chop was perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs. So they're talking more about, storyboarding in here in the writer's room, and different versions of the show that they were trying to figure out the feel of it. And then we have design a gem and design gem technology, and these are all, concepts, art for other gems that didn't ultimately get used, but a lot of the designs get brought on into other gems, things like that. I really like this little conversation on this page, so I wanted to share a little bit more of it with you because I think it's nice. Rebecca Sugar says, Peridot Rubinoids, the kindergarten. If you came in blind, you'd be so confused. That's the point where you've become completely indoctrinated into the secret club of Stephen. You're just living in this place and it makes sense to you. You've gained an understanding. I love that. I really want kids to feel smart. And then Joe says, I remember you guys talking about that fairly early on, letting people figure stuff out. Matt says, I knew it is always a better reaction than I didn't see that coming. It's a much more rewarding experience to be right. The Steven Universe audience has the chance to figure things out, and many do, theorizing about elements not yet revealed, but hinted at in previous episodes. Rebecca says, the fact that Garnet was secretly a fusion was my favorite for a while because it's always been set up. Even in the pilot, there are hints about it. Ian says, we were so obvious with our clues. The fans figured it out, but then they got bored of the idea and they thought, no, that can't be right. Matt says, they talked themselves out of it. Rebecca says, some of the fan base was really against it because they thought it might mean Garnet would stop existing. She'd be gone, and then there'd be 2 new characters. The part that was a secret was why they wanted to be together, and it's so simple. They're in love. We put so many clues in Fusion Cuisine, Season 1, Episode 32, when the fusion of all the 3 crystal gems, Alexandrite, is separating. You can see the outline of Ruby and Sapphire holding on to each other for one single frame before fusing back into the outline of Garnet. Matt and Ian said, which got caught. Ian said, in the pilot, Garnet is standing on big red and blue gems. I really like that excerpt and I wanted to share it with you because I really connected with that idea that Matt said up here, which is that I knew it is always a better response from your audience than I didn't see that coming. And you don't have to make something obvious, but it's really fun and really, as a viewer, it's a really engaging thing to be able to watch and know that things that you're picking up on are not being imagined. They are there for a reason and they will at some point be revealed, but you might be able to figure it out long before that. That's a really rewarding experience to have as a viewer. There's some fusion concepts in here. I love the legs and arms on these. I think they're really beautiful and fun. I love this right up here. These are the baseball themes relating to the episode Hit the Diamond, which is everybody in their little baseball outfits. It's really cute. This is getting into the storyboard part. And it's a storyboard driven show, so these are really important to look at and understand where the show comes from. And where a lot of the inspiration and emphasis is in the storyboards. These are some of the early concepts for Ruby and Sapphire. As you can see in the beginning, they looked quite different, but their colors were still there, and eventually their looks were narrowed down more and more to what you're seeing here, right? These are some development drawings by Rebecca. This is the definitive sketch that the storyboard artists reference when drawing Ruby and Sapphire's debut episode. I like this little excerpt too. This is from Rebecca. In cartoons, when you want to have two characters who are meant for each other, I think it's hilarious that they're often identical looking. Two of the same animal, for example, except one is normal and the other has a bow and eyelashes. Everyone can understand these two ought to be together. I wanted to make a couple that would be the complete opposite of that, but just as iconic. When you see them together, you'll realize they're a perfect match, and their relationship makes total sense to you because you've been getting to know it in the form of Garnet for 52 episodes. It's really special. And now we have some really fun sardonyx and malachite drawings here. And sardonyx is my favorite fusion. I've actually done a video on here that's of me painting sardonyx. So these are from the Island Adventure episode where Sadie and Lars have a little smooch. I remember being having such a big reaction to that. These are all doodles on Kat Morris's notepad through the many creative meetings for Steven Universe. And here's some smoky quartz concept art. Really fun. They're sometimes really polished and sometimes messy, and I just love that. Here's more Stevani concept till final right down here. Here we have some rose quartz concept, and these are so beautiful. Some of my favorite art of rose quartz. I love her nostrils, how they're drawn, her lips. Her silhouette is so great and so iconic. Really nice. They talk about in here kind of the society of the gems, the caste system that gems live in and think is normal to function in. This is from We Need to Talk. Look at beautiful Rose with her pregnant belly. So pretty. I love all the shading in here. Really nice. In this conversation, I mean, this is just storyboard, but it's so emotional even just to read it. Really brings me back to that episode. The cluster. It says at the bottom here, the concept of the cluster arose from a writer's meeting discussion in a drawing and became a pivotal plot point in the series. This is a pretty funny part of the book. This is, the next couple pages are funny cartoons, which is some of the really funny and expressive panels that eventually become part of the show. The characters, I love these two, of Pearl kind of just pawing wide-eyed at Garnet's face. These expressions from Pearl are so great. Maybe that's why I love Pearl so much, is like she gets some of the funniest expressions, and it's really great and fun to watch. And these are storyboard tests. As a candidate for a storyboard artist position on Steven Universe would get a test similar to the examples here. Okay, so now we're in the 5th section of the book called Sound and Vision. And this is about how important sound is to the show. So it gets into talking about the voice actors here, the process of creating the voices and also creating the music, and how important all the sound direction and Foley is on a show like this. These are some shots from the panels at San Diego Comic-Con, and I love that jacket that Rebecca wears. It's really good. I like it a lot. These are more concept art, 2 rough drawings used by Rebecca for signing cards to be used at public events. I love Pearl and Amethyst here, and kind of like a dance. It's such a cute pose. And this is more about music. The episode Mr. Greg, a lot of episodes are very music driven, but specifically that episode, I think it's a very musically inclined episode. This talks about the musical palettes of different characters. Pearl is piano, and her secondary is harp or electric piano. Lapis, Celesta or timpani. Bismuth is a reverse electric guitar. Section number 6 is background design and painting. So Jasmine Lai, who's the former art director, says right here, at the start of the show, Rebecca's ideas about colors were primarily about making magical things feel magical and making delicious things feel delicious. The challenge was more about making something feel right rather than favoring one color or another. Then this is world building, and mapping out Beach City, where it is relative to the rest of the world, because, you know, it's a fictional place. But it is based on, from the best of my understanding and what I've seen, and it's pretty much agreed upon. It's based kind of on a New Jersey type area, the Jersey Shore, which makes it really special, you know. I have a personal connection with that area, so it's really cool to see. This is more about the background painting. Sam Bosma did a lot of work, and you're going to see a lot of his pieces in here as well. Sam is super talented and does a lot of amazing, incredible work. If you like any of these pieces, definitely check their stuff out. These are both Sam Bosma for the line art, and then were painted by L. Mikelka. And this is the line art, and this is Steven Sugar, and painted by Amanda Winterstein. Really gorgeous, that sun. Stunning. There's a lot of color keys in here, and color key is really important for establishing so many different things in storytelling. Not only just setting or mood, but the flow of a show can go, you know, in one direction or another, and it's integral for any production like this, whether it be a movie or live action, cartoon. You have to really understand your color stories, and where that comes from. I like this little Sapphire and Ruby here when they first discover their love. Really cute. Some really early designs for the temple, which is really fun. What's so cool about the temple is the double face it has here, and so many arms. I think we're still at the point where we're kind of waiting for more information about the temple to be revealed. I have some thoughts and theories, but I won't bore you with them just yet. This is beautiful. It's a liner by Stephen Sugar, and once again painted by Al McCullough. But I look at this. This is, of course, the temple in sort of the home part, where Stephen does a lot of his interacting. And I look at this and I'm like, I want to live there. I want to take this picture to a construction home renovating team and say, please make me this. I want to live there. The beautiful high ceilings, the windows up there. I mean, when you think about something like this in actuality, trying to keep something like this heated would be a nightmare, but my goodness, it's beautiful. And I love the little, fireplace oven, and just, I want to live there. The environments in this show are incredibly immersive, and they really, oh look, there's Welcome to Jersey Turnpike. Yeah. Anyway, it's a really amazing show. Obviously, I think so, and I'm a really big fan. And if you haven't ever watched this show, I mean, thanks for looking at this anyway. It's just a fun thing to watch, but I would really encourage you to watch it. It's incredibly complex, and the show starts off in a way that makes you think like it might not be, but it is. This section talks about animation and post-production. So the show itself is not completely made by their US team. As most animation productions do these days, a lot of the animation is outsourced overseas. I think specifically a lot of Steven Universe is outsourced to their Korean team. And there is an episode of the show where they actually do kind of a little homage or reference or a sly nod at the audience. And they have Steven visit Korea and kind of have a little stop in on the animators there, which is very cute and fun. This is Claude's Volume 1, and Claude's is something that the character Peridot says all the time, but in this context, Claude's stands for Creuniverse Loves Overdrawing Scenes. And it's the second Steven Universe scene produced by the crew and features scenes that have been given special attention by the storyboard artists above and beyond typical standards. So anyone who watches this show remembers this fight right here, this iconic, shot, the garnet, and facing off. And it's just incredible. These are some ruby and sapphire keys that ultimately became this finished product here. And this page is so cute. I would really love to get my hands on eventually the picture book called The Answer, which is all about ruby and sapphire. I haven't seen it in person yet. It looks really beautiful though from what I've seen online, and maybe eventually I'll pick that one up. If I do, I'll definitely show you guys, because the art looks quite beautiful from what I've seen. These are some rose quartz key drawings. So a key drawing is used as a reference by the animation studio for the final animation, because the US team isn't creating every single, frame per second, but they can, through their storyboards and through their key drawings, they can hit the marks that the animation needs to hit, and then the animation team can do, kind of all the in-between and clean things up, of course. Takafumi Hori layout drawings in this section, and these are quite beautiful as well. There's some really good emotive and expressive shots of ruby and sapphire at the top there, and more in this section of their art. This is a really cool page of the song It's Over, Isn't It? So there's some storyboard panels and thumbnail sketches by Joe Johnston of Pearl's emotional solo song and dance scene. And then we even have some of the piano music on the side here. I think it would be so cool. This might even already exist, but I don't know if it does. It would be really cool to see a book of piano music from the show, of like all the music. Oh, that would be such a cool thing. I don't even play piano, but I just think that would be a neat thing to exist. And this is a cool page too, because Shelby Rivera, who's the voice of Peridot, posed as reference for a lot of these shots that ultimately became the dances that Pearl and Steven do, the dances that Pearl and Greg do in that episode. Alright, so we're nearing the end here, but we've still got quite a little bit left. So this last section is called Onward, and it's a bit of a wrap-up. It talks about the incredible things that this show has done in terms of being groundbreaking, and it really has been groundbreaking in so many ways and shapes and forms. The team that's working on this show is a team of people with extremely different experiences, and they all bring that to the show. They all bring that through their work, and it is, I mean, these are real people who make the show, and it's because of their not only talent, but their experiences and their worldview and things like that, that they bring all of that to the table. And that's reflected not only, creatively, but I think in the spirit of the show, you can really hear it, you can really see it. It's really exciting, that we're living in a time where we're able to tell stories that can be so challenging and so exciting. When I think about how much a show like this would have been really special for me as a kid to watch. I get a little emotional when I think about that, and it's just a really important thing, and I'm really glad that it exists. It's not perfect. It's far from perfect, but it's really important, and it's really special to me. It's special to a lot of people. There's some more really great doodly art in here, really expressive Stevens. They're, all the writers and Rebecca are talking about it, how it's hard to put into words, to be able to see people respond so passionately to something that you've created, and that they see it as a really big responsibility, and it's really humbling too. I love this Pearl outfit. I would cosplay this Pearl outfit. It's so great. Here's some more Crooniverse art. This one isn't that one great? I love that one so much. Really fun, some Stevani. This is really cute. This is one of the smallest in the book. I don't want to bend the page, but it's one of my favorites too. It's by Katie Mitroff. It's tiny little baby Steven, and it's like the cutest drawing I've ever seen. It's so cute. There's a Lamar Abrams drawing up there. And then this last page is the crew. It's little snapshots. There's Rebecca there. So many crew members working here. fun to see them having fun working on the show that we get to enjoy so much. These are some promo drawings. This one is easily my favorite. If you get a chance, I would encourage you to look up the rest from this series. It's one of my favorites. It's kind of like this for a title card promo drawing. This artist did a bunch of like high school AU art. Like here you see them in like the gym storage room getting equipment out. And I would, if you get a chance and you're interested, to go find the rest of these, because there's like 5 pieces I've seen online that follow that little high school AU continuity for title promo cards. And they are really cute and fun, and different characters in different uniforms. It's so cute. I love it. And that's it. So we have a lot of the credits back here. A lot of people worked on this book. And then another really lovely kind of sketchy marker drawing of Rose. And then there's lots more post-it note art. The back here. I really love this peridot. That's a really funny one. And then there's this little one at the bottom that has Pearl with spiky hair. And it says, "Why? What is this extra hair?" So this book is one that I super, super cherish. I'm really happy I was able to order it. And it's going to have a very special spot on my bookshelf. I hope that you enjoyed looking through it with me. I had a really great time. And as always, I love you